Hey guys, welcome back to Woods Tree Farm. I'm Phil, and today we need to do a little watering because it's already been hot. The last 2 weeks we have had 0 rain, and the next 10 days there is no rain in the forecast, and it's going to get hot, and I know the soil is already starting to dry out. I come up with a pretty genius solution, I think, to try to get as much pressure out of my pumps as I can and as much distance covered with my sprinklers as I can. So let me gather up everything that we need. We'll get to work and start watering our field. This Duramax pump right here is the first pump that we ever got on the farm, and I bought it used. I don't know how many hours it had on it when I bought it, but I have put thousands of hours on this pump. 2 summers ago, it ran every weekend, 14 hours a day pretty much. It was so dry that year. Last year was perfect. We didn't run it at all. And then it got flooded over the winter, and I drained the fluids, clean the fuel tank, clean the carb, and it fires right up. This thing continues to impress. But I need to get it to the other side of the field, and we'll get everything set up. So this over here is one of our buckwheat patches. This was planted with our Tar River no-till drill, and it's coming in really great. After I put this in the ground, we got one nice little shower like 2 weeks ago, and everything's coming up well. But I can see the leaves now are starting to wilt, and I wanted to just come and dig a little test hole or two to kind of see what the soil moisture is. What I've noticed is that buckwheat's roots don't really go down that deep, and compared to sunflowers, they'll go down, way deeper, and I think they're more heat tolerant than the buckwheat is. So I wanted to get a little bit of water down on this patch, and I've got one at the very back, and it won't take much, but just enough to put a little bit of moisture in the ground to help these plants out. I'm gonna go down, went down about 4 inches here, and this area up here is quite sandy. There's very little moisture in this soil, though there is some moisture, and that's encouraging. So it's been a couple years since I shared these on the channel, but these are great. This is a 1.5-inch rain gun. I've got 2-inch lay flat hose. The pumps are 2-inch pumps. And this is about as cheap of a kind of larger scale irrigation system as you can get. I would love to get a reel system that I could just set up on one end of the field and it would reel itself in and come across the field. They're quite expensive though, but I think at some point in the future I'll invest in one of those because moving this around constantly is a bit of work. We're gonna let that run for about 35-40 minutes, and in that time it should drop between 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch of water on the field. I need to go way back down to the bottom of the hill now, cut on the pump at the pond, and it will fill up this IBC tote, and then the other pump will pull water out of the tote and send it to the sprinkler. All right, that tank's filling up. Fill this guy up. That's looking pretty good. So these sprinklers and the pumps, I have links on Amazon for that, and if you guys purchase any of that stuff, it supports the farm here and just goes back into the work that we do. But these things are great. I have 2 of those sprinklers, but when I run my 2 pumps in series like I'm doing today, I can only run 1 sprinkler. I've tried to connect 2 sprinklers to 1 pump, but it decreases the pressure per head considerably, and you don't really get that much more coverage than you do with just one. One sprinkler at full pressure will do about 1/3 of an acre at a time in that circle. So we're reaching a good chunk of this buckwheat patch up here, and we're starting to stretch into the sunflowers that I have over here. So in about 40 minutes, we'll come along and move this thing. I'm going to move it over into the sunflower patch next, and then I've got other stuff down the hill. But that is the plan today for the next several hours, is every 30 or 40 minutes we're going to go ahead and move the sprinkler. And then I also want to get started on watering some of the trees as well. A little over an hour and a half now. We moved the sprinkler twice, got most of this uphill patch of sunflower here and buckwheat back there watered at least a little bit. Now I can reach these trees over here with the same length of hose. Moving this whole setup, you know, from one section of the field to another is a bit of a chore. So I'm trying to do what I can up here. In the past, I've watered the trees with the same sprinkler, but you water way more grass than trees that way. So I'm going to manually water these with the fire hose nozzle, and I can literally put water exactly where I want it. And we can, doing it that way, cover a much larger area at once and get a lot more water on the trees exactly where we want it.